All right, welcome back to the Perfect Season podcast. It's been a while. It's me and Frankie now. The NFL draft happened this weekend. One word to describe it for me personally was just wow. Just wow. That's all I have to say. What about you?
It was it was a fun draft because you never really knew who was going to go off the board when. You didn't know when
Right.
a quarterback was going to go. There were very few quarterbacks I think are going to turn out to be effective from this draft class. I think there'll be maybe two or three, but Anthony, I think about the depth at offensive line. I think about the depth at wide receiver. I think about the depth on the defensive line. It made this draft fun. You never really knew where teams were going to go. You never knew which teams were going to trade. You had, I think, 11 teams trade up to get a draft pick in the first round, which was good.
Yes.
So, I mean, it had a lot of moving elements to it this year that I really enjoyed.
Definitely, I would say it was definitely interesting. A lot of unexpected picks. Now, one pick that is a very unexpected for me, as you probably will agree, the New England Patriots. In round one, they took some schmuck, Cole Strange.
Well, don't stop. I mean, I don't call him that, but I mean,
He was a
it's a
day
questionable
three.
pick.
He's a day three definitely a questionable pick. And they also took the Western Kentucky quarterback Bailey Zapp in the sixth round, and then their free agent signing, they took another quarterback. Two quarterbacks, but three now. It's just I don't understand what goes on in Belichick's mind sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about this, Anthony. I don't really mind their first round pick. I mean, you know, Bill Belichick and company, like they know how to draft at certain positions, sans wide receiver. The draft pick of Bailey Zappi though, or Zappe, however, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, is questionable to me. You know, I
Yeah,
told you
I
yesterday,
100% agree. I 100.
Anthony, I told you this yesterday. Why are you taking him when you have a you have a quarterback going into his second year who's coming off a very strong rookie season in Mac Jones? And I mean, I don't know why they didn't take a wide receiver. I don't know why they didn't take a tight end, unless
unless they're
unless they're
using him
happy
for
with
backup.
unless they're happy with the receiving core that they have now. I think is that great. I think it's solid. I think it's serviceable, but I don't think it's anything special. This is a team that's going to lean on its run game and Mac Jones's ability to be accurate with the football and have a high completion percentage. The two go together, but it just puzzles me why they didn't really try to surround Mac Jones. I mean, Bill Belichick has to understand he's not coaching in 2001 anymore. He's
Right.
coaching in 2022. And you look at the dynamic quarterbacks in his division. You look at the teams in the Patriots division. The Buffalo Bills we know are lethal.
Buffalo's
They're
easily
going to
going to
be
take that division.
Yeah, insanely good this year. You have the Miami Dolphins, who
Hit or miss.
Alex and Leo don't like me. I think are going to be a fourth contender this year. They got Tyreek Hill, and then you have the New York Jets, who get them in the minute, but they are quietly making improvements.
They quietly are. No one's really talking about the Jets, Jets, the New York Football Jets. And in my opinion, I think the Jets are going to be one of those surprising teams this year that make a push for it from winning 4 games to 5 or maybe 6 or 7. I mean, look at what they
It
did.
wouldn't shock me if that was the
Look at what they did in the
no. I
first
mean,
round.
their first round picks are all hits. I think are going to be all hits.
Yeah.
We know Sauce Gardner. We know Sauce Gardner is going to be a hit. We
As
know
when he walked the wrong way.
Well, okay. Yeah, he probably was going to the sauce aisle at the supermarket instead of going to wherever. Yeah. So you've got Sauce, you've got Garrett Wilson, who I think is going to be a tremendous pick. I think he's going to add an infusion of talent that's needed wide receiver. He's going to add a vertical dimension to the Jets offense. And then I think about Jermaine Johnson up front. He's going to help with
that was going to be that. I have a feeling that was going to be Tampa's pick if they didn't take him.
when the Jets are at their best, they have a very, very good defensive line.
I 100% agree. Now,
Like you look at Jets teams that have won in the past. The last two Jets teams to make the playoffs had really solid defensive fronts.
let's flip it to this now. The NFC East. Eagles got AJ Brown. And they also took Jordan Davis.
That's a home run trade and a home run draft pick. Anthony, I'm gonna say it right now. I think the Eagles can win the NFC East and win
That's
shocking
what
if
I'm
they
saying. I agree. When they traded for AJ Brown, I was sitting with my friend who was a Cowboys fan and a Falcons fan, and I said the Eagles are gonna make a run for their money this year. And they're gonna contend against the Cowboys.
I think when you look at what the Eagles did in this draft, it shows that they believe in Jalen Hurts. I really think that they're going all in on Jalen Hurts and his dynamic play. I think
You just got to get him protection. That's it.
yeah. Well, I think the Eagles offensive line is better than it's given credit for. I mean, they have some really good players up front, but I think about you now have a very good run game with 4 running backs that you can utilize. You have a wide receiver duo, Anthony. Ready for this?
Oh,
You have Devontae Smith and AJ Brown as your 1-2 punch. I can roll with that and win a division with that.
but who's their running back?
They have a slew of running backs. They got Boston Scott. They have Ken Gainwell. Scott. They have Miles Sanders. I mean, there's a heist of running backs in Philadelphia, and by the way, Jalen Hurts counts as one too when you think about it.
Now
I look at what the Eagles did. It would not shock me if they won the NFC East this year.
Philly had a great draft. Philly NFC they had a great draft. In my opinion, a team that had a questionable draft, the Washington Commanders, formerly known as the Washington Football Team, taking Sam Howell in the 5th round.
Well, I think it shows that Carson Wentz they don't think is the long-term answer.
No, Carson Wentz is not the answer. He's been from Philly to Indianapolis and then to now the Commanders, which he's going to have to compete for a starting job.
It's interesting to me, Anthony, because I think the Commanders have
what it takes, but
they have the talent. Like I know which receiver did they draft? I'm trying to remember.
Jahan Dotson out of Penn State.
Jahan Dotson. Okay. So you're going to pair him with Terry McLaurin. So
that's a good pairing.
That's a good pairing. You have Antonio Gibson and I believe Steve McKissick, I believe, with them too. So you have two solid running backs. Again, I just think, and maybe Carson Wentz comes in for 1 year, and
he's on a 2-year deal though.
Okay, or maybe he does well enough this year where the Commanders are in playoff contention. I mean, the NFC, I don't really think is that strong of a conference. Because let's do this. Let's run through the NFC teams, the NFC division. The East, I mean, are more than 2.
It's going to be either the Cowboys or the Eagles.
Are more than 2 teams coming out of that conference to win in the playoffs?
No.
Or that division? You think more than 2 teams are going to come out of that division?
I think it's going to be the Eagles.
Okay. The NFC South is only going to have 1 team make the playoffs.
And
probably.
That's Tampa.
Okay, we know that.
The Tampa NFC clears day because you got the Saints who took a receiver, yes, but they took Chris Olave, whatever his last name is.
Olave. I think that's going to help.
It is, but Jameis is not the answer.
No, Jameis Winston's not the answer, and it's why I wish the Saints were maybe more aggressive in taking a quarterback, because I think the talent is on the roster to win. I mean, there's now talks that I saw a headline today from a tweet from Adam Schefter. Now, again, you have to question the validity of it.
Oh, yeah.
But I think, but there's talks now that they're going to be revamped to sign Tyrann Mathieu. So that's going to be
dear Lord, have mercy.
a boost to their defense. Yeah, well, put up with them for 2 games and see where that goes. But Anthony, I think
No,
when I look at the NFC, like we say the
You see
Commanders didn't have a
Tampa.
good draft.
Tampa
we
had
say
an
the Commanders
amazing
didn't have a good
draft.
draft, but name me 7 teams better than the Commanders, or maybe just over 7 teams that are going to make the playoffs.
In
We
the
know
NFC?
Tampa Bay in the NFC. Okay, we know of 2, Tampa and the Rams.
Possibly Philly as a wild card.
Okay, Philly, Green Bay, maybe. Again,
I mean, they
every other
finally took a receiver.
San Francisco, question marks. Arizona, question marks. I mean, there's a lot happening in the NFC.
You got one more team you can name.
It'll be a surprise team, I'm sure. Like
Seattle, surprisingly. Not really.
Before the Russell Wilson trade, I said Seattle was going to be my team that's going to revitalize themselves this year. Now I'm not sure.
Yeah. And then you got the AFC, which I think they had the stronger draft class.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams had good drafts in the AFC. I think if we start in the AFC North, I think the Bengals did well. I mean,
Bengals finally found Eli Apple's replacement.
For my personal team, yes. I think their secondary got better this weekend. I think and I hate to say it, the Steelers had a really good draft with
They took Kenny Pickett. They finally took a quarterback.
Yeah, I think that they know that he's the quarterback of the future, and I do believe he will beat out Mason Rudolph.
But yet, what also confuses me, they took Chris Oladucum in the 7th round.
Oh.
A quarterback formerly from USF to South Dakota State, and they took him in the 7th round.
That could mean a lot of things.
Backup position, probably.
I mean, it's probably a developmental pick, maybe a backup option. I mean, that I don't really know what to make of that, but you draft
and then you got
Pickett, and then Anthony, think about this. They give him George Pickens, a wide receiver, who I know missed a lot of last year, but the 2 years prior, in 2019 and 2020, he was a really good receiver on a Bulldogs team that was definitely a run-first offense.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Yeah. And pains me to say this, but Georgia had an amazing draft class.
Yeah, they really, I mean, you look at the first round alone, 5 defensive players in the first round and then 15 draft picks overall. I mean, it just goes to show you, Anthony, how just so dominant that Georgia team was last year.
And then you got, what other AFC teams are there that we can name?
I think the Ravens had a good draft.
The Raiders had a decent one.
They also didn't have very many picks.
No.
I think the Colts got a gem in Alec Pierce.
Yeah. I think
receiver.
The Raiders got a good guard, Dylan Parham or whatever his last name is. The guard
Dylan Parham from Memphis. Yeah, you'll like him.
He's good. I've seen some of his highlights. He's a good guard for us because we need to build our offensive line back up. So it was an interesting draft class though, with Malik Willis going to the 3rd round. Malik went in the 3rd round. Desmond Ridder went in the 3rd round. Matt Corral went in the 3rd round.
Yeah, I think all 5 quarterbacks, or I think of the core 5.
And then the Dolphins took a quarterback also.
Who'd they draft again?
Skylar Thompson.
Oh,
a schmuck out of K-State.
You have to stop calling people that, Anthony. People are listening to this.
I know.
You want to be known as the guy that calls people that? I don't think you do. Okay, anyway. I know it's a podcast, and technically, you can say what you want, but I think about these quarterbacks, Anthony. I think Kenny Pickett's a week 1 starter.
Kenny Pickett will be a week 1 starter.
I think Desmond Ridder can be a week 1 starter. I think Matt Corral should
I think Desmond Ritter is going to be like a week 4 or 5 kind of guy.
I've been reading things today that they're gonna definitely get him in, to see what the Falcons have this season, or that is the expectation. But
Yeah.
I just think about Anthony. I look at the Falcons, and it's an offense that's going to have to compete in the NFC South with Tampa Bay.
Yes,
And
I agree.
I look at Atlanta last year. Here's some numbers for you. They had the 4th fewest yards per game on offense, barely over 300. Okay, they were 29th. They were 26th in points scored, under 20.
Yeah.
So what's the solution? Marcus Mariota? Okay, well, here's some numbers for you about Marcus Mariota. He's never eclipsed 3,500 yards passing in a season. He hasn't hit 20 passing touchdowns in a season since he got hurt in 2016, and he hasn't played half a season since 2018 or 19. So what reason is there for me to believe that Desmond Ritter can't win this job?
He's a rookie. That's the only reason.
Well, look at all the rookie quarterbacks that have played in the last 2 years.
Malik's gonna have to compete with Ryan Tannehill.
He's not going to. Ryan Tannehill starting for the Titans. That's a given. We know that.
Corral's probably going to start day 1.
Now, I also think that pick with the Titans, Anthony. I think the Titans are headed in a different direction sooner rather than later with their franchise.
The dumpster fire.
The AJ. I don't think they're a dumpster fire because I still think their defense is rock solid. But you look at losing AJ Brown now, and they draft a quarterback. Ryan Tannehill's on the books through 2023. So this is basically they are preparing for a future that may not include Tannehill.
Right. Malik is the future.
I think at some point he will be, because I think you can build a team around a rookie quarterback. I mean, look at all the teams in the National Football League that have built around their rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah.
The Bengals with Joe Burrow, the Chargers with Justin Herbert,
the Dolphins with Tua.
The Dolphins with Tua, exactly. The Bills did it with Josh Allen.
A team that I'm surprised that didn't take a quarterback, the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I am too. I think what it says, they got Jamison Williams, a wide receiver.
That wasn't. There were better people on the board.
Aiden Hutchinson was a no-brainer for a draft pick. I am surprised too, Anthony. I think that they are banking on the fact that they're going to get a quarterback in next year's draft, whether it be C.J. Stroud, whether it be Bryce Young, maybe a Stetson Bennett.
Maybe Ugalele.
Or Uyuglele, yeah. Maybe. But at the same time, Anthony, I think about you can win with Jared Goff. He's won before. He's been to a Super Bowl, so I believe in him for that reason. But it does surprise me that they did not take a quarterback. I think the Lions are going to be a really competitive team, but
that division's weak. The whole division.
It is. Green Bay is going to probably win that division.
It's anyone's division except the Bears.
Yeah, I really don't know what the Bears are doing. Like, you have this talented quarterback in Justin Fields who you traded up for last year, but
I don't see him
then
as
you fire Matt Nagy. You fire Matt Nagy, and then you bring in Matt Eberflus.
Who?
Exactly.
Never heard of his full name.
Matt Eberflus, the former Colts defensive coordinator.
Bringing a defensive coordinator to lead somewhat of a Bears to 4 wins to 5.
The Bears have just never known offense.
I think, honestly, though, the Bears could be a wild card team.
What makes you say that?
Not the Bears, the Lions. The Lions.
The Lions. The thing about the NFC is, there's going to be a team or two maybe that make the playoffs that are going to have Cinderella seasons.
I think the Lions make the playoffs as a wild card team, and I think the Vikings make the playoffs.
The Vikings are interesting because they lost a lot of one-score games that had they gone their way, I think they would have been maybe a playoff team. But at the same time, like I don't really have like there's no player on that team that makes me believe that they can go to the playoffs.
I mean, getting Hutchinson is a good pickup. Getting Williams is a decent pickup, but there were
For the
so
Lions,
many
yes.
there are so many better players available, I think, in my opinion, than oh shit. The Rays are coming back and making a comeback. It's 9-6 now. We were down 9.
How about that? How about that?
It could be worse. Could be a Reds fan and be 3-17 right now.
Yeah, you could be. You could be a Reds fan. I mean, but I just think about Anthony. The Lions with Dan Campbell, he's going to have that team ready to fight every single game.
Oh,
If
yeah.
they can find a way to
The
steal some
Lions
wins.
could have been a 5-6, even 7-win team this year.
Yeah, they really could
They
have.
could.
And I think
They show hope. They show hope.
the thing. Yeah, and like you, me, and Alex talked about it last month. Like you look at the Lions and you see that there's tangible hope.
There's hope. There's
faith. Go to Houston and you wonder where the hell they're going.
I mean, Davis Mills with his giraffe-looking neck. Mike Glennon 2.0 in the making.
Well,
Lovie Smith is not the answer.
No, he's not. I mean, the Texans.
There's a lot wrong with them that they need to do before they get right.
Yeah.
I mean, that team's just a dumpster fire. Now, Jacksonville. That's a team
what did you make of Trayvon Walker being the number 1 pick?
I kind of like it. Someone different.
It's someone different, but I think about like what is he going to bring to the Jaguars? Like you look at his numbers and you go, okay.
Trayvon Walker.
Like you look at his numbers last year, and I only see 37 total tackles. I see 7.5 sacks or tackles lost, whatever it is. And I just look at those numbers and I go, are those number 1 pick worthy? Like I look at Aiden Hutchinson, and it makes sense that the Lions got him because he had a great season. But Trayvon Walker,
he's 6'5", 276.
But look at the number. Well, okay, that's a beast right there. But
look at Jordan Davis, 6'7", 300.
Anthony, look at the first round draft picks of recently. What do they have in common? They were Heisman Trophy winners or finalists. Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield. You can go back as far as Jameis Winston. You can go back as far as Andrew Luck or Cam Newton or Sam Bradford. Or
Bradford won the Heisman?
Yes.
I feel bad for him. Where is he now, anyways?
That I don't know the answer to.
Probably a backup somewhere.
It's a shame because I actually thought he had some really good potential.
But yeah, Jared Goff's out here being a starter.
Well, there you go.
I mean, if I was the Lions, I mean, you never know. Also, I don't even know who they got in the free agency signings or whatever after the draft.
I think the Lions signed somebody in free agency that I know
of. I mean, there's a lot of Clemson players went this draft.
Yeah, Andrew Booth went to Minnesota. I like that pick.
I mean, I wish he came to Tampa.
Well, you can't have everything in life.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could have the Bucks going back to back. But the Lightning compete for a 3-peat tomorrow.
That's true. Stanley Cup playoffs get underway tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. We'll do a little episode on that before, maybe. But the Lions got Kevin Jarvis, offensive lineman, Khalil Pimpleton, a wide receiver, Demetrius Taylor, a defensive tackle, I'm gonna butcher this name. Open Azizi, offensive tackle out of TCU. Here's a name for you. A typical white guy name. Excuse my language. Greg Bell, a running back from San Diego State. Could be a starter, maybe, maybe not. If you can, or depth for second round is like say second string, third string. Corey Sutton, a wide receiver. Cedric Boswell, Zine Obeid, Derek Deese Jr., a tight end. Nolan Given, Josh Johnson. So they had a decent free agency signing class. And did you know that the Ravens took Chris Paul, the guard? Like the
I
basketball
did know
player?
that.
Chris Paul was drafted.
I think
But
they also took that big 390-pound lineman from Minnesota.
that Boye Mafe,
Yeah, I mean that.
that dude's a beast.
Try getting around that guy. It's not going to be easy.
The Ravens are going to be a team that's going to be win now.
It's kind of a unique situation for the Ravens because they could bolster some positions if need, but they also have the luxury of realizing, hey, we're going to get back a lot of key players. Now they did lose Marquise Brown in free agency, but
You do
they
lose
still have
Hollywood Brown
a
also.
solid. Yeah, that's who I just said. A solid running back room. They have a very good defense, and Lamar Jackson can make a lot of plays. So, and you still have one of the best tight ends in the game in Mark Andrews. It's going to be a Ravens offense that's not going to be very dynamic. It's going to be, I think, more one-dimensional than some might want to think, but it's still going to be a team that you have to be on the lookout for.
But yeah, other than that, this whole draft was just wow.
It was unpredictable because, I mean,
Roger
normally you
Goodell
have
got
your
booed.
5-4. That was not
I know.
unpredictable. That was very predictable. And I just think about Roger, and I just think about, there weren't many quarterbacks that were so coveted like we've seen in past years that you could wait to the second and third rounds to get him, or in the fourth round, as was the case with Sam Howell. And you look at Malik Willis, you look at Desmond Ridder, you look at where those guys went. It's a good value pick.
I agree. Like some of these quarterbacks are going to be day one starters. Some are going to be busts.
All right, so let's take a look at what we've got coming up in the NFL world. We got a lot of sporting events coming up. You've got the NBA playoffs.
Suns are going to win it all. Suns are going to win
conference
it all.
semifinals. I think Golden State's going to beat Phoenix in the conference finals. That's assuming both teams win their conference semifinal series. So, Anthony, we've got the conference semifinals underway right now. In fact, there's one game today that already went final at the time of this recording. If I can get my ESPN.com site to load here. We've got one game that's already gone final. If I can find the final score. Milwaukee drawing first blood in their series with Boston. They win game one. You shared a screen. Look at that.
Yeah. Look at me being smart.
Milwaukee. Okay, so Milwaukee beats Boston 101-89, 1-0 series lead. Game 2 Tuesday night in Boston. Defending world champion Milwaukee off to a good start. First loss for Boston this postseason, so we'll see how they respond there. You got the other conference. You got Golden State, Memphis playing right now. Yeah, you got that series going on right now.
That could go 7.
I think it will go 7. I think both teams are really competitive, but Anthony, I make my predictions in the NBA playoffs based on this. Which team has the best player? And Golden State's got the best player in Steph Curry. So I'm going to pick the Warriors in 7.
I could beg to differ. Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton.
And maybe in that scenario, it's the best team. But this series between Golden State and Memphis is so close.
You got John Moran also.
John Morant's a star. He is. I mean, the way he played in Game 6 and Games 5 and 6 against Minnesota was admirable.
And then you got You got the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs
Yeah,
tomorrow night.
that's 4 games tomorrow.
I got Tampa's going all the way.
4 games on Tuesday. You got the NFL London games announced on Wednesday. I hope to God the Bengals and Saints don't go to London, and the Bengals and Buccaneers don't go to. I mean, you told me that they might play
the Bucks
Germany
aren't
game.
going to play the Bengals in Germany.
I don't think they should, because I think Burrow versus Brady is going to be one of the marquee games of the year.
Yeah, in Tampa. And you already know, when we go to that game, I'm getting a creamsicle jersey.
Those jerseys are cool. And I was
Thank
thinking
you.
about it, Anthony. Yeah, I was thinking, Anthony, about some jerseys that I would want to have. So I thought of one jersey.
I mean,
I thought of one
already
player.
got the hat. We got the hat.
That's a good hat. You know
It's
which
an
jersey?
amazing
Jersey? I'll give you a throwback name of a jersey I'd want to have.
What is it?
Because I love his name, and my sister shared a dorm with him in Clemson.
Oh dear Lord, have mercy.
They were down on the same floor. Teddy Bruschi.
Teddy Bruschi.
Remember him?
Somewhat.
Linebacker for New England on their 3 Super Bowl teams of the early 2000s.
No, a jersey I'd want to have. That's a throwback jersey from the Bucks with the creamsicles. Leroy Selman and John Lynch.
Leroy. There you go, Leroy Selman.
Now, from any team, I will take. I'll take a Peyton Manning jersey.
Yes.
Or
good
yes,
pick.
I have a pen like a wand. I'll take Alex Smith.
Ooh.
When I was sick with my horrible sinus infection, I managed somehow to watch that documentary. Not fun. I was dying.
Oh, the E60 documentary?
Yeah. That was a good documentary.
On Alex Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I watched that 2 years ago before the Bengals, and then I kind of blamed myself for Joe Burrow getting hurt that game because I watched that documentary leading up to the game when the Bengals played at Washington that year. So I'll give you a jersey I'd want to have, and I'll give you a jersey I want to have. In fact, I just started reading his biography. John Elway.
John Elway?
You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, obviously.
Well, you know him as the GM of the Broncos. See, I was born the year that he won his second Super Bowl against my birthplace Falcons.
Ew.
That'd be another jersey I'd want to get as an old.
I want a Dan Marino jersey.
Oh yes.
Or Charles Woodson.
Or, there we go.
Nominate Alsamagua.
You know what, Anthony? I'm going to compliment the Raiders here and say this. I want to go to a game in Vegas.
Let's go.
You know, if the Bengals go to Vegas for a playoff game next year, let's go. Let's go to Vegas. What?
Like they'll make the playoffs again.
I think both teams are winning their divisions.
Vegas is going to the Super Bowl.
Would not shock me. You know what, Anthony? It would not shock me because.
Wow, you actually agreed on something I said.
Because the Raiders have done a lot of things this offseason that I really like. They hired a good head coach. Not that I didn't like Rich Bisaccia, but they hired a good offensive-minded head coach. They extended Derek Carr, which I don't know why there was even talk about him not extending him because he's actually better than what people have given him credit for.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. They traded for Devontae Adams, who's the best receiver in football, maybe, besides Cooper Kupp. Okay, so now you have a legitimate number 1 wide receiver. You've got a great tight end in Darren Waller. You have a great slot receiver in Hunter Renfrow. Name me a player that they lost. You need Ngakwe? Okay.
They're most likely going to lose Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, that's a hit. But, I mean, Anthony, you can, but you're not going to beat Kansas City and L.A. by running the ball 30 times a game.
Is not going to do anything.
No. And, they lost Ngakwe. Okay, they got Chandler Jones.
It's a win-win situation.
Yes, and then you still have
We also got Rocky Ya-Sin.
Rocky Ya-Sin's going to be good. That's good. That's a good corner right there. Okay, you still have Trayvon Merrick, how do you pronounce his name? Who couldn't cover Jamar Chase? Hey, who couldn't cover Jamar Chase or whoever.
Eli Apple couldn't cover Cooper Kupp.
I'm not talking about that game though.
I'm just saying if you were making the comparison.
That's Eli Apple.
Eli
Okay,
Apple
fine.
was
All right. Schedule release May 12th. That's a good day to look forward to.
yeah.
Baseball season's 1 month in.
The Rays are one of those teams that's just hit or miss.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, when
the
we go
Yankees,
to the Rays Yankees game at the Trop, by the way, be prepared for lower back pain.
lower back pain.
Our seats are terrible.
Well, well, maybe I'll stand the whole game.
Yeah, if we get outfield first row seats.
All right, Anthony, do we have? I know you got to go to. I should call it Pubway in a matter of minutes. Do you got anything to close this out?
This was a great episode.
Yeah, it was.
It was a great episode.
Good to be back. I mean, I feel like I haven't been on. I feel like I haven't been. Really,
I feel like we haven't expanded our horizon.
Although I did put a quick hit about the Bengals first round draft pick on the.
I did see that.
Shorts.
Got 25 something views.
All right, close this out. All right.
Thank you so much for watching. Be tuned. Stay tuned. Be tuned. Whatever you want to say for our next episode. This episode's gonna upload sometime this week.